Chris lost 16 kilos in just 12 weeks, going from feeling skinny fat, unconfident and lost, to actually having abs for the first time, all whilst working both days and night shifts in a tough manual job where his schedule changed every single week. And in this video, I'm going to break down these problems, what we've done to fix them step by step, so you can copy the exact same process and see results just like Chris. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Zach. I've been coaching for over 10 years, and during that time, I've helped over 700 men worldwide, such as shift workers like Chris, business owners like Lee, office workers like Joe, and even offshore workers like Cole get into the shape of their life. I myself used to be disabled due to having a disease where my bone died, which I've since had a hip replacement for. During the time I was disabled, I got the body that I'd always wanted, all by following these exact steps. 1. Identifying the problems and the goal. Chris's issues were exactly the same as most men that I speak to. He felt skinny, but he also felt fat. He trained hard and he dieted for years, but always felt like he was stuck looking and feeling the exact same. Jumping from plan to plan, he was in a bulk, then a cut, then back in a bulk again, getting absolutely nowhere. In his words, he didn't know where to start. The thing is, it's never been easier to find information online, but finding what's specifically relevant to you is near enough impossible. Chris wanted to get into the shape of his life and be happy with how he looks and feels, but he didn't know what calories to have, what macros to have, when to actually eat his foods, what foods are good for him, how he should be training around his shifts, but more importantly, he didn't have a set target or goal. Just the vague goal of lose fat or get bigger, which is far too broad. So the first thing we did with Chris is set weekly weight loss targets. With Chris, we aimed for around about 0.5 to 1% of body weight loss per week, which came out for him because he was so consistent in and around 1 to 1.5 kilos of fat loss per week. Over the course of the 12 weeks, it equaled 16 kilos of body fat off the frame, and this was because he knew exactly what he was working towards every single week rather than guessing. For you guys to copy, here's an example. Let's just say you need to lose 30 pounds. If you lose 1 pound per week, it's going to take you 30 weeks. If you lose 1.5 pounds per week, it's going to take you 20 weeks. If you lose 2 pounds per week, it's only going to take you 15 weeks. You'll always lose more initially at the start due to a drop in inflammation and water weight, so please be aware of that. Step 2, calories and macros. Multiple factors go into this, such as your job, activity level, age, and experience. But like most men, Chris's eating habits were all over the shop. He'd often run low food, he'd cut his carbohydrates, he'd do excessive cardio, and he'd pretty much just run purely on caffeine most days, which is great at first when you stand on them scales and you see them plummet down and your graph goes like this. Until later down the line, when because you're in such an aggressive, steep deficit, your testosterone's tanked, your metabolism's all over the shop, you've got no energy, you lose a lot of muscle, and you just end up giving up because the diet is unsustainable and too difficult. So instead, what we did with Chris was give him a deficit where he could actually sustain and still build muscle, which worked out at around 700 calories. For his macros, protein was set at 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. Fats were 48 grams for optimal hormone health, and we filled the rest of his calories with carbohydrates. This meant that Chris had enough energy to train even on night shifts to build a lot of muscle whilst pulling off that body fat. For you guys, I'll not be able to tell you specifically exactly how many calories that you need to have or the macro breakdown that you need to have because I simply just don't have enough information. If you want help with that, DM me the word calories on Instagram and I'll help you out. And also, I know the entire fat loss process can be confusing, so if you want all of the guesswork taken out of it for you and have a roadmap specific to you, just like Chris, hit that top link in the description. Me and my team will have a chat and come up with a roadmap for you. Now, there's no obligation to sign up. There's no commitment. The call is completely free. You can simply take that roadmap away and have a crack at it all on your own if you really want to. But transparently, we want you on the team because we can guarantee a result just like Chris. But remember, it's free. You can just do what you want. There's no pressure. Step 3, meal timing. Shift working makes consistency tough. Sometimes you would train on a morning, sometimes you would train on an evening, sometimes it will be the middle of the day, but no matter what, it was never the same every single day. So we had a rule: 50% of his carbohydrate intake that he was allowed was split between his pre and post-workout meal, no matter what shift he was on. For pre-workout, slower releasing carbs were consumed if he was training a few hours before his workout, and the closer he got to it, the more fast releasing carbs he would consume. For post-workout, he always had a fast-releasing carbohydrate and a fast-acting protein source, because that's when your body's ability to build muscle and absorb nutrients is at its highest. This gave him enough sustained energy to train hard, but also recover well, and also provide enough energy throughout the day so he could still work well and build a lot of muscle whilst bringing that body fat down, losing the 16 kilos. Step 4, training. Chris used to train 6 days per week, thinking more was better, doing a chest day, arm day, back day, thinking that that is a good way to train. But unless you're a bodybuilder who can train 6 days a week, commit your whole life to training, then it's not the best. As training like that means you only hit each muscle 1 time per week. And with Chris, and like most men, he wanted to build the most amount of muscle whilst he was losing the body fat. So with Chris, what we ran was a push-pull legs, rest, push-pull split, workouts lasting no longer than 60 minutes, only doing 2 working sets per exercise within the 6 to 10 rep range if it was a bigger muscle like chest, and for a smaller muscle like triceps and biceps, we did 10 to 12 reps. And the result of this was, for the first time, Chris actually built muscle whilst losing body fat and got into the shape of his life. And if you want his full training plan for free, DM me the word Chris on Instagram and I'll shoot it across. Step 5, cardio and steps. Most men think more cardio is the answer, and some honestly don't even need it. I dieted for just 100 days and got this result, and I did no cardio because I was disabled and I couldn't do it. But with Chris, we kept it super simple. At first, he had no actual cardio in place. We just prioritized doing 10K steps. Then, when fat loss and weight loss began to slow, we gradually added in 2,000 steps per day, or 5 to 10 minutes of low intensity steady state cardio post-workout. This slow and steady approach meant that he never burnt out, he had energy to perform well with work, he protected his muscle, and actually built muscle throughout the process. For you, it would be hard to give you an exact number because everyone's situation is completely different, but a good rule of thumb is I'll be aiming for a minimum of 8K per day, or add on 3,000 steps to your current average. And if you see you don't have time for that, I'd vet your time because you've got a dream body that you actually want to achieve. Or even invest in a walking pad and do it at the comfort of your own home, or just keep making excuses, stay fat, the choice is yours. Step 6, accountability and tracking. Chris specifically said, you don't know what you don't know, and I cannot be bothered to waste any more time on my own. Which is a fair statement, as the reason that most people fail is because they've only got themselves to report to. And fat loss is a super emotional journey because at the end of the day, you're trying to change the way that you look and feel. So it's easy to make decisions based off that when you're on your own and you're in your own head. So yes, we set Chris the plan, but we made sure that Chris followed through with what he said he wanted to achieve and followed the plan daily. To do this, we made sure that Chris tracked everything, because what isn't measured isn't managed. For you, what I would suggest that you track if you're wanting to lose fat is your body weight every single day, fasted after you've been to the toilet, because that'll reflect your true body weight. Track all of the calories and macros that you consume, and track all of the sets, reps, and weights that you lift in the gym. And then simply just make adjustments or not week by week based on if you're seeing the progress that you want or not. And that's exactly how Chris dropped 16 kilo in just 12 weeks. Same guy, same job, same lifestyle, 2 completely different bodies. And if you want to do the exact same and you're fed up of guessing like Chris was prior and think you'd benefit from the structure and the accountability, then hit the top link in the description and me and my team will see how we can help. Now remember, the call is completely free. There's no obligation to sign up. You can simply take that roadmap and structure away and have a crack on it on your own. But like I said, what we'll be able to do is guarantee a transformation if you're on the team and you follow through with what you said you want to do. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like, subscribe if you like no bullshit, straight to the point educational videos like this.